Joe Satriani released Always With Me, Always With You almost 35 years ago. And it's still one of my favorite instrumental songs to date. I was gonna do the obligatory cover and put it up on YouTube. However, as I was listening to it, I realized there's only a handful of instruments used throughout the song. So I figured maybe I can try and recreate it. Let's go ahead and check out the final product. And if you like what you hear, then stick around and I'm gonna show you how I did it. Still there? Good. Let's get on with it then. Okay, so what do I need for this? A cabasa, a cymbal, a bass, and a couple of guitars. And that's about it. However, I don't have a cabasa, I don't have cymbals. But instead of looking for virtual instruments, let's go to the kitchen. I think I can find a replacement.
I'm the fastest man on the planet.
So that's it. I recorded all of these sounds using nothing else but my smartphone, and they sound a bit rubbish right now, but we'll deal with them in post. By the way, I'm using Reaper as my DAW.
Digital audio workstation.
And I absolutely love it. The reason number one for me was simply the ease of use that came with Reaper. But let's just dive into it. First, I need to figure out the tempo of the song. So I'll do a quick Google search, and it tells me it's 144 BPM. Before we dive into Reaper, just a brief disclaimer. I'm not a sound engineer. I'm not good at mixing. I just started. That's not my profession. I did this just for fun. So please, sound engineers out there, don't be triggered if you see me making these stupid rookie mistakes. This was just something that I found to be useful for me. Maybe I got it completely wrong. However, the final product I kind of liked. So that's that. Okay, so what do we have in Reaper? I've already set up the BPM to 144 and I set the time signature to 3/4. I've also inserted 4 tracks. On the first one, I have the original song. On the second one, I've isolated cabasa sound. On the third one, we've got our cymbal. And on the fourth one, we've got clap. And if you take a listen, you will notice they sound quite horrific, but that's what we're gonna change now in the settings. So first, for the cabasa, I'm gonna add effects by clicking the FX button, and the FX window pops up. Now in the filter field, I'm gonna type in EQ, and I'm just gonna select re-EQ out of the bunch of different EQs that I can select. Now, I'm going to select the high pass type for the first band, and I'm just gonna loop this part so that you can hear what it sounds like. Now, as I move this band towards the right, you will notice that humming actually disappears. And now we're left with this tighter sound of cabasa. Obviously, you can play around with different settings, but for now we'll just leave it as it is. As for the cymbals, it's even peaking, but we're going to change this in a minute. Again, I'm going to add some effects, and this time I'm going to add 2 effects. The first one will obviously be the EQ, and I'm going to do the same thing I did for the cabasa. So I'm going to add the high pass. I'm going to loop it so that I can hear the sound. And let's say right about here, I'm going to leave it. And I'm also going to add another effect, which will be the reverb. So I'm going to select reverb, and I'm going to add the sweet verbo impulse response. And you notice that it immediately sounds more like a cymbal. You can play with wet and dry mix to get the sound you like. Finally, for the claps, I'm going to add the EQ. Again, I'm going to go with high pass. Oops, let me just solo this track so that we can only hear the claps. And I'm also going to add the same reverb with the sweet verbo impulse response. However, it still sounds a little bland. So what I decided to do was to duplicate this track, and then I duplicated it once more, and then once more. And finally, I just offset the last 2 tracks a little bit so that it sounds like there's more than one person clapping. And as you can hear, it immediately sounds better. And that was about everything I did in Reaper as far as the effects go. The rest of it was simply instruments. And now the bass. The bass was actually really simple. We've got 4 notes: B, E, F sharp, and G sharp. And that's about it. You should play this song on a bass using your fingers, not the pick. And you should be mindful of whether your nails are hitting the string, because if they do, that's not going to sound good. at least not for this song. There is one part where the bass gets a bit more playful, and that's right after that beautiful tapping part. But I didn't bother, mimicking the entire sequence. I just played along as the song progressed, so something like this. And that was about it. As for the guitars, I'm really not gonna go into each and every section, how it was played. There are a lot of tutorials on YouTube on how to play this melody. However, I will tell you that even though I've learned how to play this song quite some time ago, it was still kind of difficult to get it right, and I still don't know if I did it. I definitely noticed several mistakes that I did when I was listening to the recording afterwards, but I guess that's just something that makes it a bit more humane. I guess it was a combination of me trying to make it sound as good as possible and recording at the same time, and yeah, delivering it on YouTube for you guys. Oh, and by the way, if you guys are using Headrush pedalboards, you can download these two rigs from Headrush Cloud. And that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that I had a lot of fun making this video and actually recreating the song. If you learned something, good. If not, maybe you just had fun watching this being created. Maybe this gave you an inspiration of some sort, and that will be the main goal of this video. Anyway, I'm gonna see you next time. Cheers.